What up, everybody? It's your girl, Tata.
And your girl, Zupa.
And welcome back to another episode of Fall Awake. On today's episode, we're going to actually be talking about intimate relationships. And we ain't no gurus here. We have a lot of failed relationships, all right? A little bit more than that. But we're just going to be diving more into the topic, talking a little bit about what it means to be in a relationship, when you know you're ready to be in a relationship, and some of the work that you have to do internally, as well as some of the signs and red flags to stay away from, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. This is like a topic that I wanted to stay away from.
Yeah.
For like a very long time.
Yeah.
Because, I don't like to put my business in the street. But, it was eventually we were going to have this conversation. So the goal is really to like open up space to dive deep into like maybe areas that sometimes you hear a lot of people talk about relationships, And
it seems like everybody wants to be in a relationship. I really don't know why. Okay, I do know why. Okay.
It says the newly single person.
Yeah, newly single.
That's why
we'll get to that a little later.
But yeah, I just find that it's such a topic that people talk about it so much. It never really interested me to talk about. I'm like, there's so many podcasts talking about relationships.
Yeah.
But as I hear a lot of it, like I feel like there's some nuances missing. So we're gonna dig deep into it today. So, before we get into it, like...
Let's talk about some of our relationships.
Exactly, so...
I'll let you go first.
You set me up for
I
that.
always do.
Okay, so what you want to know? Get in my business.
Talk about, like, something that you've learned over the years of having relationships and having relationships that failed.
I think that, when you're in a relationship, it's a lot to do with you more than the other person, like your experience.
What do you mean?
I feel like a lot of our experiences, whether positive or negative, it's very often we shift we project onto the other person, the partner, when a lot of it has to do with us. Like basically what I'm trying to say is that throughout my trajectory in relationships, I only became more and more comfortable by taking agency over my own life and not feeling victimized by whoever I'm with, not sitting in a victim's seat and being like, oh, poor me, this is happening to me. And I feel like when you do take agency and be like, I don't accept this, or this is not something that makes me happy, or this makes me happy, this is what I would like to do, it's like it takes a lot of time of reflection on your own self. Yeah. Like, what is going on with me?
And a lot of people don't take the time to reflect on their own self, yeah.
And what's crazy is that sometimes you do that when you are in a relationship, and then when you get to know yourself, you realize like, oh, maybe this is not the relationship for me, or maybe this is the relationship for me, but this is the ways in which I have to change in order for it to become a better relationship or sustain it. But the inner work that you have to do is extremely important, because otherwise what you have is just multiple failed relationships, and you go from one, it ends, you kind of have this superficial reasoning as to why it ended. You shift the blame onto the other person fully. And
sometimes, not all the time.
Sometimes they are to blame.
Yeah.
But even when they are to blame,
it takes two to tango.
Exactly. And even if you were passive, maybe being passive was the problem. Maybe being insecure in a very scary way, or in a way that made you a victim, was the problem. And if you continuously move from one relationship to another, being that same victim, being insecure in those same ways, you're gonna reap the same results. Yeah. So it's very important to see, like, how did I contribute to it? And even if you were a victim, you did contribute to it in a way. And so that's what I really learned. And that's why I'm single, because girl.
No, I feel like I've definitely learned a lot. I've learned more through failed relationships than I have through anything else. And I've had relationships that ended that I wouldn't consider a fail. I would consider it a plus because I was able to flourish and grow. You know what I mean? When I mean like a failed relationship, I'm speaking more of those toxic relationships. Maybe it was abusive, there was manipulation, there was a little bit of gaslighting. You know, it was a little bit where, you know, we weren't treating each other with the respect and love that the other person needed. And then there's also relationships that ended where, you know, it ended for all valid reasons, right? It ended because maybe the boundaries were too enmeshed. Maybe there was a little bit of codependency going on. And in order for me to really get to know myself, I had to leave, you know? But first thing first, I'll talk about the toxic ones. I feel like what I've learned most from the failed relationships that were toxic, the most important thing for me was the importance of boundaries, right? I still don't have that really put together. I still don't have an idea. Like, I have more of an idea of the boundaries that I'm supposed to have. I'm still working on appropriate ways to really put them in place and hold them and not waver. You know what I mean? Not waver, not be double-minded in my values, in my code, you know? But more so, it really taught me about the fact that how we teach people how to treat us, you know what I mean? And a lot of times when we're in these relationships, we allow so many chances, we allow years to go by thinking that things will get better because we're looking at the person through our own lens. We're not taking them at face value for who they really are. Sometimes we're looking at them for the potential they have. We see that they could be great caregivers. We see that they could be, you know, hardworking. Yeah, they're friendly, they're nice whatsoever. And sometimes it's the potential that we believe that they could have in the future. Right? Right now, what I'm trying to do more is see people for who they are. You know what I mean? Not because of my feelings, not let my feelings cloud my judgment, which I feel like me being such a feeling and emotional person, I automatically, you know, I often let my feelings judge take the lead, yeah, and not my mind. You know, I'm more of a feeler. Some people are more logical and rational in their decisions. Me, I just I get that feeling, and you know, even though I say I don't believe in falling in love, I believe that love is a choice, but I choose to love based off of a feeling. You know what I mean? But I could definitely say that, you know, through everything, each relationship that failed, like, I don't hate my exes at all.
No, yeah,
you know what I mean? Even those who were extremely abusive.
Maybe one.
Even those who were like extremely abusive, I don't say I hate them. What I say is like, what was it in me that I tolerated that for so long? You know, what qualities did I not yet form? Right? And I feel like, especially now, with everything that I'm going through and like my age, and like, I really feel like dating in your like teens and 20s is like, I don't know, it's like a facade a little bit, you know what I mean? I didn't really grasp like, you know, I didn't really get a good understanding of the components of a real healthy relationship. Once you're used to like just toxicity, it's like, that's all you know, so that's all you attract. But like now that I'm older, I really find that I have a different outlook on myself, which moving forward for the relationships I have in the future, I'm hoping to also have a different outlook on that. You know, the type of people that I'll go for, the type of people that I'll even allow in my space. You know what I mean? Like, people could pass by, you know what I mean? They don't need to park up in my lot. You know what I mean? And right now I just keep praying for more and more discernment so I could discern between the people who are just passing by for a season or those who are meant to park up in my lot for a reason.
You know, we're gonna get back to to really dive into what is toxicity, like, because it's such a trending topic.
Word, yeah.
A trending word. It's like toxic this, toxic that. Yeah. Like, what is it really? But I really like what you're saying, because the part of parking in your life, in your parking lot, which is life, guys, deep, and just like a bypasser,
passing by.
Yeah. I feel like you and I have like a different kind of way of like dealing with that, like after like a failed relationship. I don't like to say failed. It is what it is. I feel like I learned a lot in all the relationships that I've been. Well, the most recent one, I learned a lot about myself, which was very necessary. But for me, like, my boundaries are so rigid now. You know, it really takes a lot for a guy to get my attention. You know, even if I'm dating, I'm gonna lose interest very fast. I used to date for like potential. Like, I could date a guy saying like, oh, he would be
an amazing
father.
Yeah.
He would be this and this and that. He's so ambitious in his mind. and eventually it's gonna turn into action. I could justify loving a person before like that, but now it's like, no, like no potential. Like it's either it is now or it is not. And it's very hard for me to date nowadays because I'm like, no, I don't see, like, I saw this post that says, it said, when they say there's plenty of fish in the sea, and then she turned the camera and all the fish were dead. So it's like
not for me.
You know what I'm saying? So fishing is hard nowadays.
Yeah.
So, but in your case, I feel like you're still like so willing to like and open, you know, and I wish I was more like that.
I think it's different. Like what I tell people, I think like all the trauma and abuse I've been through in my life, like I should be freaking rigid, you know? But God blessed me with a heart that just overflows with love I think for a reason, to teach me about proper boundaries. You know what I mean? I'm always willing to give love and I'm hoping to receive it too. But it's like, I will always be like that. And I just need to know, like right now, like how I have in my mind and what I'm adopting is like, how can I be a better woman to the next person that's in my life? It's not necessarily about the potential that the man necessarily has, but I believe that, you know, how could I still have my identity, my life, and still complement his, you know what I mean? But at the same time, being the best person I can be for myself and for this person. How could I love this person like he's never been loved before by a woman? You know what I mean? And in return, how could I serve and submit to him so that he could serve and submit to me in return? You know what I mean? I think like a lot of people, the way they deter in regards to their perspective on relationship is that they're so focused on the potential of someone else. What can that other person do? How can that other person make me feel? How can that other person make me happy? When they really need to take the time to think like, am I even happy in my own skin first? Because if I'm not, I cannot even expect someone to make me happy. And you know what? It's like supposed to be a cycle, you know what I mean? A circle. The more it's not always like that, but the more you give, you're supposed to get. And you're supposed to make sure that you find someone who could reciprocate your actions. You know what I mean?
Reciprocity. Let's get into it. Reciprocity is a big one, you know? Before we get deep into the conversation, I just want to know, like, for you, what are some of the things that you think a person has to achieve in order to be in a relationship, if any? Yeah.
Okay, I hate when people say, oh, you have to heal first before getting a relationship. I was broken and a relationship helped me heal because I had the stability and time to be able to focus on me, right? A lot of people will say, oh, you have to heal first and then get in a relationship. Well, like, honestly, everything will break somebody. You know what I mean? Every day people will be broken. And I feel like I needed that another person's love to help me feel stable and comfortable, to give me the space and room to love on myself, right? Because I wasn't getting it from anybody. I wasn't even giving it to myself. So I had something somewhat to mimic, you know what I mean? Oh, being there for me. I should be there for myself just as much, you know? Oh, putting me first, even if it was sometimes. That means I should be putting myself even sometimes too, compared to no times, you know what I mean? So I don't believe that you have to heal before being in a relationship, but I believe that you have to be aware of your faults. You have to be aware of your challenges. And there's things that we won't ever know, you know what I mean? But we have to be conscious of like, how am I and what traits do I have that could push somebody away? You know what I mean? How am I in a relationship? Do I even compromise? Do I even want to meet someone 50-50? Or am I the type of 80% girl? 20 for me and you go the 80% of the way, right? Because then all these things depict the type of person that you should look for, right? Don't look for someone who's saying, yo, I'm only going 60 for the girl, 40 for me, and you going 20. It's never going to work because people are going to always be missing each other, you know? So I believe that understanding myself has definitely been a key component, but also being patient with myself, knowing that I'm not a relationship guru, but knowing that I do have love to give and that it takes time. It will take time for me to be the person someone wants me to be. It'll take time for me to be the person that I want to be. You know what I mean? And not just thinking about the other person being patient with me, but am I willing to be patient with myself through the lows of the relationship? Or as soon as there's a bump or a low, am I going to run? Because I used to be a runner. She's a runner. She's a track star. That was me. Okay. Like Usain Bolt, man. I was bolting out of there as soon as it was bad. You know what I mean? And I think that's why in my last relationship, my marriage, I really stayed. So I stayed even though it was bad. By the way, y'all, I'm recently divorced. I'm a divorcee. We're going to get there. It's in the works right now.
Yes.
But I think that's why I stayed, even though there were so many red flags, because I was using something that I used to do in my past relationships, but I attached a negative connotation to it. So I went to the opposite. I didn't want to run. I wanted to stay no matter what. You know what I mean? Especially like getting married in the church and everything like that. It was like there was a lot hovering over me. But yeah, I feel like if I was more patient with myself, like, I would have been out in the first year. No, I'm not saying that, you know?
But honestly, I think that you did the right thing. And I don't think you should second guess yourself.
Yeah.
Because
definitely not second guess myself now.
Because your skin won't be as clear, honey. Okay. You would not,
It's a little hard. I don't know my past, you know?
You know what I mean? It's like, I honestly do feel like, look at yourself in the mirror. How do you feel? And if you feel good about yourself right now in your body, then maybe what you're doing, the decisions you're making are not so off.
And that's what you have to look at too. Like, since I separated, like, I got a promotion. I got accepted to the MSW program. You know what I mean? I got a new part-time job. I'm a family counselor. Like, the podcast has been like excelling. We're doing these workshops. You know, my personal life is glowing. I'm working out. Oops. Hey, I was gonna say a bad word. I'm freaking.
Hey, we have families watching this.
Yo, I'm freaking vegetarian. I'm eating healthy. Like, I'm taking time for myself. You know what I mean?
I cannot.
Doing more self-care and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And I really use that to every time I go through a low to help me pick myself back up. Because there's been relationships that I came out of and I was like, honestly, I felt like I wanted to kill myself. You know what I mean? I felt like I was having suicidal ideation. You know what I mean? Wow. I did not want to live, you know? And it's such a contrast to how I'm feeling now. And I'm coming out of a marriage, you know what I mean? And I'm living life like I've never lived before. Yeah. Because it's sometimes when you're in a toxic relationship, and I'm not gonna lie, I was toxic in the marriage too. Like, I can't just blame the other person, you know what I mean?
I remember.
Yeah, I was just as toxic, and it was just, the only difference is that I couldn't, once I was more focused on the relationship, I couldn't allow all that to continue. It just didn't make sense. It wasn't something that I envisioned for myself, and I'm pretty sure that it wasn't something that he envisioned for himself either. You know what I mean? To this day, I still have mad love for him. I respect him. You know what I mean? Even though we don't communicate at all, I've learned so much from him, and I know for damn sure that he learned a lot from me. But you know, sometimes it's just the wrong person. You know what I mean? And you can't force it. And my problem was I was forcing it. I had different reasons to force it. You know what I mean? Like I said, even
which some were valid.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But don't force it, man. Yeah. Don't force it at all. And if you're uncomfortable with something, my biggest things, when we were doing marriage counseling, my biggest things I said, that the pastor revealed that were my issues that I don't like in someone is lying, unloyal, and dishonesty. They all tie into the same thing, you know? If you lie, you're not being honest. And I can't trust you to be loyal to me if you're not honest, you know what I mean? And ultimately that just lumps into being a cheater. I believe people can make mistakes. I don't believe you could oops and slip into the pussy. You know what I mean? I don't believe that's a mistake.
That's where we're going today.
I don't believe that's a mistake, but I do believe that if you know that you've made wrong decisions and wrong choices and you could own it as a man or a woman.
Accountability.
I would love that. Someone saying, I'm sorry, I had sex with your friend and, I really apologize for that. But whatever you want to do, if you want to leave me, the ball's in your court. Give me the choice. Yes. I feel like when someone conceals the truth and hides it, and I don't have my choice anymore, I feel duped. You know what I mean?
You feel like you're a fool.
Yeah.
And so now that we segued into marriage and divorce, here in Canada, what are the reasons why people divorce? So the number one reason is money. It's funny, right?
Oh, that was nothing. He immigrated to this country. He had $0, and that was not an issue.
68% of divorces are due to financial reasons. A lack of meeting needs is the first reason in regards to financial reasons. And then the second one is a gap between incomes. So I think personally it played a huge part in the demise of my relationship, well, the most recent one anyways. Because, you know, when there's a disparity in financial income within a relationship, it kind of impacts the patterns of behavior, the interactions. You know, you're going to walk on eggshells.
And it can lead to financial abuse.
Exactly. So that's the leading reason. And then the second one is cheating.
Oh.
Here in Canada.
Why is that second? Why could that be first?
Whoa.
You know what I'm saying? Like me, listen, I used to be a cheater in every relationship. So at one point I thought I was getting my own karma back. You know what I mean? But then I realized like, nah, man, I'm growing and I'm a different person today than I was yesterday. So it's like, I had to like get that out of my mind. And it's like, I could tell you the first reason why he cheated, you know? I wasn't giving him any attention. I didn't know how to be a wife. I didn't even know how to be a girlfriend.
Right, that's when I met you.
Yeah, I didn't know. You know what I mean? I had no clue. Plus, I was out of school for 10 years. I was like, complete different lifestyle. So I was in school. I was very focused on my education, very focused on changing my life. I didn't want to own the label of being a wife. It took me so long to call him my husband. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, God just allowed me to know me, and I started loving me. Like, why do I have to like change me and be a wife now?
I remember because that's when we met.
That's when we met, during that change.
Your first year.
My first year of marriage. It was my first few months. It wasn't even a full year.
And you kept talking about being married. I'm like, Lord have mercy.
It was
I had
intense.
just gone out of my long-term relationship, and every time you're like, yeah, being a wife.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I had to like force it in my head more and more. But yeah, no, I wasn't giving him the attention that he wanted, and he was someone that was raised with like a bunch of women, so used to being overly affectionate with each other. And I was raised by a single mother who only had brothers and would bust up any dude. You know what I mean? So it's like we weren't hugging, we weren't saying I love you. You know what I mean? So our upbringings did have a lot of impact on the way our marriage went also. But yeah, I could tell you right away, I contributed a lot to it. But at the end of the day, I believe it's a choice. Like someone could treat you so bad. If you choose to go cheat, that's on you. Let the other person go. You know what I mean? Or before you get to that point, communicate. You know what I mean? Be like, you know, these are things that will push me away and into the arms of somebody else. Lack of attention, lack of this, lack of cuddling, you know? That's why any relationship I get into now, we put in everything out of the table. How do we want this relationship to be? What are our negotiables and our non-negotiables? Because I believe like these are not things that people talk about. And this is something I didn't talk about in our marriage. We did marriage counseling, but not once did we sit down and say like, what do you want? What do I want? You know what I mean? What are my non-negotiables? What are things that I'll bend for, and what are things that will break me? You know what I mean? And we just went into it, and it's like we weren't living together before we got married. We weren't being intimate together before we got married. So it's like marriage, intimacy, living together, everything at once. And I'm like, it was honestly for anybody who especially grows up in the church, who's Christian or religious or anything like that, if that's how you want to do it, that is 100% okay. But take the time to ask the right questions.
And you know, there's premarital counseling.
Yeah, that's what we did.
Premarital counseling. Like after
no, premarital counseling is before you get married.
Yeah, but premarital counseling is supposed to be more effective than counseling after you're in a marriage or a relationship. So they highly, like therapists and counselors highly recommend premarital counseling rather than, because most of the time when people go to therapy, after they have problems, it's already too late. Like one of the partners is no longer interested. They're like their foot is out the door.
Yeah, like by the time he was ready, I wasn't ready. But premarital counseling works, but you have to see those red flags, and you have like I know people who do premarital counseling, and like they see the red flags, they end a relationship. But like us, it's like we called off the marriage, like we called off the wedding. Like I think I called it off like 3-4 times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I still went ahead with it. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So it's really about like standing firm, not letting people tell you anything. That's why like the main thing that I took away from any relationship is, don't let the outside voices come in and feel like it's gonna influence how you navigate the relationship.
Okay, so let's get into the third reasons. Constant fighting is one. This is too much. Like when all you do is fight, there's no enjoyment in a relationship. Like, why would you stay?
Yeah, it's blasé.
And then intimacy is the fourth one, like sex. incompatibility is a thing.
Yo, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Well, now I do know.
It is.
But I didn't know before. Because, people always say sex isn't everything. But I can honestly tell you, it's a lot. It's a lot.
It might be everything. And then abusive.
Yeah.
So abuse.
Why would abuse be the last one?
Because it's not the last one.
Oh.
It's the fifth, and there's 7.
Okay.
Abusive is the 5th reason why people will get out of a relationship. Why would they divorce?
Okay.
And just to clarify, abuse can go from, when we talk about abuse, we're not necessarily talking just about domestic violence or physical abuse. There's emotional abuse that is very, very, very high.
Mm-hmm. And tricky. You can't even pinpoint it.
It's very hard to prove.
Yeah.
So even if you would take someone to court for this, it's very hard to prove. So there's emotional abuse, psychological abuse. When someone is constantly
shaming
putting
you
down,
guilting you,
constantly putting you down.
Yeah.
Making you feel like you need them more than you really do,
Yeah.
or making you insecure,
isolating you from your family and friends,
telling you little things here and there to make you insecure. That is, before it gets to physical abuse, there's a lot of emotional abuse and psychological abuse that happens before you get there.
Yeah.
So, drug addiction. So any addiction, really.
Period.
Any addiction, like alcohol abuse, drug addiction, because it's very hard to control or to be in a relationship with someone like that.
And I think when it comes to addictions, people don't understand that they're also it's a disability. Yeah. You know what I mean? And people don't take the time to even want to support someone in that situation to get help. Sometimes people don't even want to get help. You know what I mean? And people can be addicted to sex.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's addiction, period, and just understanding that, are you willing to hold that person's hand with them through the process of their healing? You know what I mean? And I think that's why a lot of people would rather end it.
Yeah, and then the last one is early pregnancy, or these early relationships. Mm-hmm. So you've been with this your high school sweetheart since you were in high school, and then years go by, you have a child in your your early 20s. Those usually end up in divorce because
they stay together just for the kid.
Not only that, but also you stay together and change. You're different individuals over the years, and maybe you don't connect the way you did before. And it's just the time we need in order for a relationship. That's what the research says. In order for someone to be fulfilled in a relationship, you have to have an individual identity and a couple's identity. And sometimes people get confused thinking that, I'm with this person, now we're one person. Yeah. No.
Well, you move as one, you move as a unit, but you have 2 separate minds, you know what I mean? And that's where you have to put 2 and 2 together to make one.
And you have separate needs, and you might have separate goals and combined goals. Yeah. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when you don't have those parts of your individuality, that long-term becomes a problem. Yeah. So let's get into, you single. I'm single.
We single.
We single. Ow. So let's see why people stay single. Because I've been single for a couple of years now.
Yeah, you go first.
Oh, girl, what? That's not what I was going. Okay, fine. So, research shows that one of the reasons why people stay single is freedom of choice. Mm-hmm. So, to be free to date whoever you want, have more choices, and be able to fulfill your own goals. Mm-hmm. And then another reason, a second category of reason would be constraints. So sometimes people need time to decide about their sexual orientation could be a thing. Mm-hmm. Sometimes sexual difficulties is also a thing. People have a hard time being intimate. Yeah. And then having children from previous relationships. Oh,
the baby daddy, baby mama thing. I didn't know it was really that much of a thing, you know what I mean? Because nowadays, you have, baby mamas and baby daddies who are looking like a whole snack, you know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying? I've been milfing for a minute, but I'm saying, no, but it's not just about the baby daddy. I hate those terms.
I don't know, I kind of like it. You want to be my baby daddy? No.
I can't stand. No, it's not. And anyways, for me, because I do have a child from a previous relationship. I don't have one now. No, like my little son is a little human being that I have a lot of respect for, and you have to be someone special for me to bring you into my son's life. And I have been, I've been dating, but I do the math, and I'm like, I don't know, do you deserve this?
Do you fit the roster?
You know what I'm saying?
Are you worthy enough to meet the Big Nate dog?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. This is Big Nate.
Yeah,
and
for real.
He takes his role seriously.
Yeah, it's true. It's
so
true.
I don't know. It's just I am so afraid to, just the separation of his parents is a traumatic event for him. And I am so afraid to contribute more trauma
and to bring external people in who won't be there for long, like
exactly
the passing and going and the impact that might have on him. So to make him feel like relationships are unstable. And
exactly,
I feel you.
So that's one of the reasons why I don't really date a lot. I'm also I don't have a lot of time to date. When you have a child, you don't have a lot of time to date, to be honest.
Yeah.
But then also the factors of how he can potentially be affected by, especially let's say his father is in a new relationship, I'm in a new relationship. That's a lot of
messiness.
That's a lot of
new people for him to
relationships to manage for him.
Yeah.
And my son is very vocal with me, and when he's confused, he's gonna tell me, this is a new role, this is a new person in my life, I don't really know how to feel. So imagine me adding another person in his life.
Yeah.
So I just wait until he's ready. I feel like he's ready, I'm ready, the stars are aligned, But for that to happen,
Mercury's in retrograde.
Yeah, Mercury's in retrograde. It's the green light. But to find a man who's patient enough for that, who is going to understand my reality is key. And until that happens, I'm gonna be single, guys.
Yeah. I'm really into I'm loving what I'm going through right now. I'm not going to lie.
Yes, reasons. Tell us.
I'm loving what I'm going through right now, and I'm really into the non-exclusive talking right now, and just having fun. I'm all about experiences, I'm going to different places I've never been, and I'm just having fun, and it's no strings.
And one thing about you, there's always a man behind you.
There's always someone with no strings. No, it's not like that. I ain't no loose goose, okay?
No, that's what I'm saying. There's always some guy who's, hey, can I pay your bills?
Yo, can I pay your bill? Can I pay your telephone bill? Exactly. Can I pay your automobile?
I'm like, girl, where you find these guys?
No, honestly, because, I realized that I love men. You know what I mean? Not just as in I want to be intimate with a man, but I do identify as a black feminist, you understand? But even more so, that's why I love my black men even more. Because I know in my community that for one of us to excel, we have to excel together as a community. And I love loving on black men, and I feel like they've been so, the whole black woman against black men thing. It's at the end of the day, and then we cuddle up next to our black men anyways. Black men
are shit. I want a black man.
Yeah, so, and I really believe in even relationships with my guy friends, I really believe in changing that narrative. I really believe in loving on them and trying to be there for them. You know what I mean? Sometimes it gets a little tricky when, that makes it feel like it's deeper feelings and stuff. But as long as you keep those boundaries lines pretty clear, I think, I hate the gray. I always say with my guy friends, I hate the gray. Don't put me in the gray. It's white or it's black. You know what I'm saying? You want me? Let me know. Don't try to do things with me to make you think that you want me, but you don't want to claim it, but you want to have the benefits of, you know what I'm saying? Of me being wifey. No, we're not giving wifey treatment anymore to people who don't want to be a hubby, you know what I mean?
I have a hard time with that. But I'm going to get to it because I want to say something about what you said before that. It's true that, we love black men, and me sometimes, throughout my single years, I enjoy just having a conversation with a man.
Yeah.
Like if let's say
I
haven't been like dating for like 8 months, sometimes I go for a year with like no interaction with a man. And I'm like, damn, like I feel like just sitting down and chilling with a guy.
Yeah.
Nothing more, you know? And when that happens, you know, sometimes guys are gonna be like, oh, they're expecting for something more to happen. But no, I'm
interested in picking your mind.
Yeah, I just want to have a conversation with a man.
Yeah.
So I do agree with that. But the thing about doing wifey things, when that I have a hard time with, you know why? Because me, you know how I am.
Yeah.
If you come to my house, I'm going to feed you.
Yeah.
Only thing I'm not going to do is rub your feet.
Yeah.
I love to
I might, though.
I love to love. Like, that's my love language is caring for people. And I can't stop myself if I like you. I'm not going to be like, oh, no, I'm not going to do this or do that, which it comes naturally to me because of some sort of title or this and that. Yeah. For me, it really depends on how you make me feel.
That's a problem, though, because you see that behavior and then, okay, because I am like that, too. You know what I'm saying? I'm just 10 toes, period. For my friends, for intimate partners, for my family that I consider family. You know what I'm saying?
Some people are just relatives.
Some people are just relatives. I am 10 toes, but the problem is people abuse that. You know what I'm saying? If I see my boys have dirty feet, I'll be like, yo, I'm getting my nail clipper. I'm going to clip your freaking toenails, man. You know what I'm saying? That's dirty. Because if you go and then you're going bucking up with a girl and you're scratching her, it's all like eagle's claws. That don't make no sense. You know what I mean? To me, I feel like that's just a, you know, not everybody's like that. Some people will be like, that's not my man. I'm not touching his feet. Yeah. You know what I mean? But other people will abuse that treatment. You know, and then the minute you don't do that, it'll be like something else. Or because you're doing that, they'll want to get sexual with you.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's like for me, what works for me is having those clear boundaries. So I'm not going to see no man. Because if I feel like you abused me one time, I'm not going to see you again. You know what I'm saying? But I can't like restrain my natural way of being, yeah. Because you're this is wifey duties. There's some wives that don't do that. You know, there's some wives that don't do it. So it's not. There's no wifey duties.
There's a lot of stuff that I didn't do for my husband that I'm pretty sure that I should have.
Yeah, and that you will probably do
that I will do now
for someone else.
Yeah, yes. It's the compatibility thing, like you talk about.
If you make me feel seen, I feel reciprocity.
Yeah,
you're constantly supporting me.
Yeah,
like.
I will do backflips for you, my dude.
I'm gonna cook for you. I'm gonna make you feel, you know. Yeah. I'm gonna treat you the way I feel, the way I express love. You know. So another category of reasons why people stay single is difficulties with relationships. So examples in this survey were answers like, I am afraid that I will be disappointed. I do not trust easily. Change scares me. So this is something that honestly rings true to me. That's top reasons why I'm not in a relationship and I don't actively look for one. Is that I have huge trust issues because, like I said, I've kind of for like my early 20s, throughout my whole early 20s, I wore my heart on my sleeve. Okay. And you could totally tell when I'm in love. You can totally tell how I feel, whether it's with an intimate relationship or even in friendships. I would give myself. And then at some point I realized how there was a lack of reciprocity in some of my relationships and whatnot. And then eventually, but I have to say, some men have treated me like a queen. Shout out to those men. Yeah. They know who they are. And so, like, I felt like I'm so vulnerable. I'm very vulnerable. So, and I don't know how not to be that way. So just like what you said, instead of like, oh no, I'm going to change the way I am when I'm in a relationship. I'm not going to do this when it comes naturally to me. I just have these boundaries as to who I allow in my space. Where do I go? Or the types of people that I surround myself with. Yeah. You understand? Because it's so scary to be in a relationship and be that kind of person who gives yourself completely.
Someone that, I'm not talking. Am I talking? I don't know. But someone that I'm having fun with, you know what I mean? No strings fun, actually said that to me. And I really love the conversations that we have because this person's mind is super logical and rational and I'm super intuitive, right? So it's a good mix. And they pointed out to me a lot of stuff that I needed to see. You know what I mean? Stuff that like other people were still abusing. And now I'm able to see my other relationships with other people as manipulative, as gaslighting, and so on and so forth. Because this person said to me, it's like, you, like you said, you are just you. So you do these things because it's a part of you. You serve people. You're submissive naturally, you know what I mean? To someone that you see that you deem worthy, right? But the problem is, you don't take the time
to discern if they're worthy or not.
You don't take the time. And it's like, and he said, you don't even care if it's reciprocated or not.
Okay, no, yeah.
And it's true. At the end of the day, I'm going to be me regardless. And a part of me doesn't care if it's going to be reciprocated, but a part of me wants it to be reciprocated. And that's the problem. How could you not care if it's reciprocated and want it to be reciprocated at the same time?
Girl, you need to sit with yourself some more.
I need to sit with myself some more. But that's why I'm liking what I'm going through because I feel like everyone that's in my life is for a reason. Even having that conversation was a blessing because I was able to see that, yeah, I'm overflowing with love to give, but I just need to be more selective of who I share that love with. Because I know that my love changes people. My love changes my friendships. It makes my friends be more open and comfortable and be more themselves. My love changes intimate relationships also. But my love has to do more with changing me, you know what I mean? And making me come to those realizations so that I could get it reciprocated.
Yes, and it's very important. Reciprocity is key because over time you're going to feel it in your body.
Yeah, that's what he kept saying. He's like, you don't want to come to a day and you wake up that you're no longer you. Because now you felt all the hardship that you've gone through has really hardened your heart and you're no longer that overly loving, bubbly, I will kill somebody and then I will love them the next day type of person. You know what I mean? Okay.
Okay, so in all these categories of reasons why people are single, you know, this survey included women and men, and it was heterosexual people. And women gave higher scores on factors like having bad experiences from previous relationships and being afraid of change. And then men, of course, sorry, that was negative. Greater reasons to be single was avoidance, conflict avoidance, and wanting to be free. You know, and it's interesting that men think that being in a relationship, well, according to the survey, is not being free.
Well, I mean, like, you have someone telling you what they want, their likes, right? And expecting you to appease them. And people have to make sacrifices in a relationship, right? So if automatically you're making sacrifices, that means you're not necessarily always doing what you want.
But that's the thing for me. It's like in all relationships, for example, you have a relationship with your mom. Do you not feel free in your relationship with your mom?
Yeah.
You do have obligations still towards her.
Yeah.
She does have expectations towards
Maybe
you.
They mean free to just go out there and be dogs.
That's what I'm saying. Because I don't want to be with no man who doesn't feel
maybe
feel
free to be responsible to or accountable to someone other than their mama.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just a perception on relationship in general.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be with no man who doesn't feel free.
Yeah.
Like, go on and be free.
Yeah.
And then now we're gonna get out of it wasn't negative.
No, it was pretty enlightening.
Yeah,
if I do say so myself.
Yeah, if I do say so myself. 6 healthy reasons to be in a relationship. We need to come. You know, we have to. Why should we be in a relationships? So this by Margaret Paul, 2013. And she says that the number one reason, like the 6 reasons to be in a relationship, is to learn and grow. Okay, and if you want something to add to one of these, please feel free. Yeah. So to learn and grow.
That's what I felt because I was broken when I got into my marriage, and I feel like he was too. And like we learned different things. You know what I mean? I was able to do more introspective work and he was able to do more retrospective work, right? I was able to look inside myself, and he coming to a new country, he was able to look at externally and find ways that he could use it to benefit him, the system here in Canada versus that in Jamaica, Me, I had the opportunity to slow down my life, you know what I mean? I didn't have to be so fast-paced, fast this, fast money. I had the opportunity to slow down and be like, who are you, Tamara? Who do you want to be? focus on school. Focus on giving back to your community. You know, if you want to be a servant leader, focus on serving. You know what I mean? So for me, that's what it did for me, for real.
Yeah, and I can attest to that. I have to say that, like, when we met, I remember, like, I seen you grow in this relationship. I remember sometimes we had conversations where even if you had a conflict in your relationship and the way you reacted to it.
Yeah. Like, don't lie. Okay, sometimes I popped off, but maybe I popped off like 3 times. So 1 time a year I popped off and I was like very not good. You know what I mean? But I learned to cover someone's shame. Like the Bible says, like, love covers a multitude of sins. Yo, you don't know what it's like to the whole church know that your husband is cheating on you, and you're going to a meeting with the pastor and his wife, and you stand there firm and by your husband's side and cover his shame. Because in a relationship, what one do, it reflects on the other. Doesn't matter if you're married or not.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And not a lot. Usually, what some people do is, like, when someone does something, they separate, they distance, they run. You know what I mean?
Like,
I ran to him. There was an issue that I was not happy with, and it was unsettling. But I had to stand there like a G and hold up that umbrella. You know what I mean? Hold up that shield to block off the haters from us, not just from him, but because we were one, from us. And that was the first time I've ever had to humble myself to bear the burdens of my partner.
But you know what? I really do respect that. But for me, when I say that I've seen you grow, it's in different aspects, like individually. Like
for sure.
That
too.
That's a lesson that you learned that you could use in your future relationships. Like, it's one lesson. But I feel like you being in that marriage was, you learned so many things. I remember one instance, something had happened, and I knew that the way you reacted was not who you wanted to be anymore.
Yeah, you told me.
Yeah, and
that
we had
stuck
that
with me.
conversation.
You stuck with me.
And I'm like, yo, Tamara, this is not
who you are.
Want. Yeah. It's not who you are now, and it's not who you want to be.
Yeah.
And maybe you've been triggered into your own pattern. Yeah. And that's not it. And I remember you being like, oh my gosh, yeah.
I felt so ratchet in front of her. I was like, I felt so ratchet. No. But when you said that, you're like, and if you're around anybody, and you didn't say husband, but that's what you meant. You meant, I don't give a damn if he's your husband. I don't care if it's Jesus Christ. If you're around someone who brings out the worst in you, who makes you feel that all that progress was for nothing, you know what to do. What I mean?
You can't
and
allow.
I stayed 2 more years, but then the last incident, I swear you were in my head, and instead of getting aggressive, I left and I went on a drive. I went on a long drive by myself, and that's when I was driving by Lakeshore Boulevard, like the end of the island with the water, and I was seeing all these expensive houses, these rich people, billionaire houses, you know? And I realized I wanted to stop off and see the water, but there was no place to park, right? Because this was a high-value area. These are high-value houses, right? And high-value people. The only people that could park are those who go in their parking lot, and that means you have to know those high-value people. That means you have to be high-value yourself. And what came to me was that, like, yo, Tamara, if you don't think of yourself as high value, you will continue to get low vibrational people in your life. That's when I had the epiphany that, like, I am high value. I deserve everything that is good. So when I went back there, I prayed for him. Because I knew at that moment I could curse you. I could curse and I'll do all this stuff. But I prayed for him and I said, you know what? In your next relationship, I just hope that, like, you feel the love that you deserve and that you do not ever treat another woman the way I was treated. You know what I mean? For me, too, I hope that in my next relationship, I never belittle a man. If I feel like I can't give him what he needs, to let it be known in the early so that we could decide how to navigate this relationship together.
Nice. You heard that?
Those are gems.
Second reason to be in a relationship, for healing. I personally think that's a big one. I feel like me being in a long-term relationship helped me heal from a lot of childhood trauma. And not because, the relationship was the reason I healed. But it was the being in the relationship, the constant work on myself.
It positioned you.
Yes, it positioned me in myself. Like, even when I would have conflict, it's like, is this me?
Yeah.
Am I the drama?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Am I the toxic one?
Yeah.
You're toxic.
You know what I mean? It's like you constantly asking yourself questions in relation to a relationship that you're having with another person. It pushes you to to heal some of those wounds.
And to look at yourself.
Yes, look at yourself in the mirror. And then another thing was that I was going to school at the same time. So I was learning all these psychological theories,
and frameworks, and then applying it to yourself, and then looking like, am I a statistic?
Yes, and sometimes I was. And then I go home and I'm like, wait a minute, no, this is not it, or this is it, or whatever it is. And so relationships can be a great tool for healing. Another thing would be support, whether financial or emotional. So like if you're healing, getting a partner who's emotionally supportive is a good thing.
Getting the financial support was amazing for me. I was able to put myself through school. And your girl just got accepted to a master's of social work program, girl, you know? Like, it paid me. It paid. I can't say it didn't pay.
And then companionship, obviously. You are with someone, you never feel alone. To create a family. So for people who want to create legacies, that's a reason to be in a relationship. To create a safe and loving sexual relationship.
Safe and loving sexual relationship. Okay, wait. Safe and loving sexual. I find it funny that they put those two words first, because you would automatically say, like, because, you can have sexual relationships that aren't safe, that aren't loving. You know what I mean? And that's the problem.
You can be in a relationship and not have a safe and loving sexual relationship.
I know. And you could have not fun sex either.
Exactly. So I think it's important to be in a relationship that is, you are having safe and loving sexual relationship.
Yeah, but what is really safe and loving sex?
Is where the person is able to
communicate their wants and their needs and what I don't like.
Fulfill your needs and vice versa, obviously. Be reciprocal.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. Not be selfish in the bedroom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's not easy for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Don't be stepping in no one's head unless you can take it.
Okay. You heard it here first. So, now, let's get into toxic relationships.
Meow.
Woo. Okay, first of all, what is toxic relationships? So, from the same article, the same doctor, a toxic relationship is one that makes you feel unsupported, misunderstood, and demeaned or attacked. On a basic level, any relationship that makes you feel worse rather than better can become toxic over time. A relationship is toxic when your well-being is threatened in some way, emotionally, psychologically, and even physically. So.
Okay, I've been toxic.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've been toxic.
In which ways?
I grew up, I think if you want to be politically correct, like some of the ways that I was brought up have been toxic, I was brought up on tough love. So sometimes I show tough love, and to some people that's toxic, you know what I mean? Because, in that I heard a lot about feelings, feeling this, feeling that. At the end of the day, if you're coming out of there better, right? Who cares how you feel sometimes? Sometimes your feelings will play games in your mind. Sometimes you will feel things that are not even true. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Yeah, sometimes I talk with a sturdy tone. Doesn't mean I love you less. You know what I mean?
You are so smart.
But it's true.
This is my partner, guys.
I hear it all the time. It's like, is your tone. I show, that's why it's important of knowing people's love languages. You know what I mean? Me, how I show my love is through acts of service, right? It's through quality time and touching. You know what I'm saying? I'm a very physical person. I communicate with my body, and I communicate through serving you, right? So someone could be like, oh my God, your tone, you're making me feel like you don't love me. You're making me feel this, but I'm going out my way to show you through acts, right? And that's why there's a clash of how people feel versus how the other person feels versus the reality. There's always three sides to the story.
Okay, so just to piggyback on what you're saying, she's saying same but different. Same, different. People with mental illness, such as bipolar disorder, major depression, or even depressive tendencies, may be particularly susceptible to toxic relationships since they're already sensitive to negative emotions. For example, someone with a bipolar disorder who is in the midst of a mixed or depressive episode may have somewhat weaker grip on emotional stability than others, and that may make that person an easier target for toxic people. You understand? So that ties into what you just said, in the sense that there's this, especially in abusive relationships, I've noticed in my work, is that you're going to find someone who is already like insecure, has like some sort of mental illness that in which like, or like have an anxiety disorder.
Low self-esteem, lack of self-worth.
Exactly.
So that the other person can control.
And then they match with a person who's on the other spectrum.
Yeah.
Who's like, you know,
narcissistic.
Exactly.
Sociopath.
So that is the perfect recipe for a toxic relationship.
It's true.
And then the person who's on the victimized end is going to be like, you're abusing me.
Yeah.
Without noticing that
I went to you. I fluctuated
to
you for that abuse. Yeah. Because you know what it is? From my experience, and I was in an abusive relationship, both physically, emotionally, and psychologically for like 10 years. When something is all you know, and plus I was in that relationship from 16. So from the age that I should be developing still until like 25, I was with this individual. And sometimes when all you know is toxic, that's all you know. Yeah. You only know what you know. You know what I mean? You could see this other view and aspect of a relationship in the movies and all that stuff. But if you've never experienced it yourself, you have no clue what to look for. You have no clue what to look for in yourself or in another person. You know what I mean? You automatically go to the thing that you, like subconsciously, it's familiar, but it's the thing that abused you. You know what I mean? If not, you become the abuser yourself.
So we have here a few signs to know if it's a toxic relationship without those, like, for example, huge...
red flags type thing?
Yeah, red flags to know if this is a toxic relationship or not. For regular people, not people who have, like, major disorders or mental health problems, you give more than you're getting. That's
just like the friendships one, when we did our friendships episode?
Yes. You feel constantly disrespected or that your needs are not being met. You feel a toll on your self-esteem over time. You feel unsupported, misunderstood, demeaned, or attacked. You feel depressed, angry, tired after speaking or being with a person. The person brings out the worst in you. For example, you don't do drugs or you don't gossip, and every time you're with a person, that's what you do. You're not your best around the person. You feel like you have to walk on eggshells. That's a big red flag.
Me was bringing out the worst in you.
Yeah?
Because, listen, the cheating back thing. I cheated back once. You know what I mean? Throughout my marriage. I cheated back once. Yeah, honey. I cheated back. And you know what? I didn't think of it as it bringing out the worst in me, but like, that's the very same night I came home and I told him. He asked me straight up, did you go and you had sex with someone? And I said yes. And I did it more so because that's the behavior I wanted him to mimic. When in his situations, I wanted him to be able to tell me the same night that he did something, you know what I mean? But what I realized is that situation, I stooped low. That's why throughout the separation, I've been rising high. I haven't been, like, even if sometimes you get an instant that you want to stoop low. You want that fist bulges up, you know what I mean? But I've been trying to rise high. And a lot of people be like, yo, if he cheats on me, I'm cheating back. That is bringing out the worst in you. You know what I mean? Because in reality, you don't want to cheat, or you would have been a cheater. You would have been cheating through the whole relationship.
Yes,
if someone causes you to cheat because they're cheating, you should leave them right away.
Another one is you spend a lot of time and emotional strength trying to cheer them up. Oh, no, I'm not doing that no more. Like, people who have mood swings. Like, get away from me with your mood swings. You're always to blame.
Yeah.
That's huge.
That's me.
Those are gaslighting. Yeah. Gaslighting is a big thing.
That's me. And like I said, the person that I'm somewhat talking to, like, he's always letting me know that why are you always apologizing for the smallest things? You always say sorry. You're always apologizing. He's always like, who made you feel like shit? You know what I mean? And like, I still haven't pinpointed exactly the situations, but I noticed too, I'm always like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And they're like, why are you? And then even in our conversations, sometimes I'm always coming off of I'm on the defensive because I'm like, I'm not the wrong one. I'm not wrong. It's like, I'm not saying that you're wrong. Who's making you think that you're always wrong? You know what I mean?
Because it's a pattern that you were in before.
It's a pattern that I was in. So I'm always apologizing and I'm always thinking I'm wrong. So when situations comes up where I feel like, oh my God, is he going to think I'm wrong? I'm always like, I didn't do anything. I'm not wrong. I didn't do anything. It's like, yo, calm down. I never said you were wrong.
Exactly. No, you have to be careful not to repeat the same patterns.
Yeah.
Types of toxic relationships. So this is just to know that toxic relationships can be in families, friendships, It's not just limited to romantic relationships. And not all toxic relationships are caused by both parties. Some people are simply toxic, okay? There's some people who are just toxic out there. And they're toxic to be around. They sap your energy with negative behavior like constant complaining, critical remarks, and overall negativity. Or they may argue with others, constantly explain why they know better, or point out the flaws of others, all of which may weigh on you over time. So narcissistic and sociopaths, which is the most undiagnosed mental health problems.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of narcissists and psychopaths out there.
Yeah.
Living their best life.
And sociopath and psychopath are a little different, but yeah.
Yeah.
They're seeing your social cues, so they're trying to match. It's not necessarily what they feel.
Exactly. They know how to act. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm in a relationship, so this is what I should be doing.
Yeah, and
But
this
they
is
don't
what I
feel
should
it.
do to get you to behave a certain way.
Yeah, but they don't feel anything. And narcissists, it's people who are overly obsessed with themselves. That's not, no. And so a health impact, which is the last point that I have here, a health impact of why you should stay away from toxic relationships and end them ASAP, is that a 2016 University of Michigan study found that stress and negative relationships and quality directly affects the cardiovascular system. And in the long term, all of these factors damage your health and may even lead you to develop unhealthy coping behavior like drinking or emotional eating.
B, I gained like 60 pounds in my marriage.
In a relationship, eh? That was crazy because as soon as
I was like, yo, whatever size you want to be, props to you, boo. I went from 160 to 260. That's like 100 pounds in 4.5 years, okay? I didn't see it coming. I didn't notice it, but I turned to food.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't even hungry anymore.
Yeah.
And I was just eating. Listen, I was 160 in 2016. In 2020, I was 255.
That's crazy.
Il y a quelque chose qui va pas, là.
Ouais. It's really dangerous, guys.
And now I'm down 60 pounds, y'all. So,
and, yeah. And then as soon as she's separating, this girl's looking flawless. Her skin is glowing.
Yeah,
and
yo.
me too. Like, seriously, I feel so much better in my skin. I feel happier. Yes, nice get lonely sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's all good. You know, at the end of the day, it's like you have to weigh what is more important. And for me, where I'm at right now in my life, peace, my peace of mind, I will fight for it. I will fist fight for my peace.
I will pay. Like, I'm literally paying for my peace of mind right now.
Nah.
Going through this divorce, I'm paying.
Yes.
Financially, physically. I said, you know what? Anything goes. I will pay for that peace, literally. And you just have to know what sacrifices you're willing to make.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nice.
I loved it. It was a good conversation. Yeah. First time airing out the fact that I'm divorcing, and I feel like I feel a lot better.
But you know what? I think it was the right time.
Yeah.
Because, you know, and that too has changed, you know? Sometimes now you took the time to like process really it.
Yeah.
And now, you know,
I nearly aired it out on this radio show, and Zupa was just like, "Don't do it, boo." She's like, "Don't go there." You know what I mean?
But I was like, "Don't tell us your business."
No, and for everybody who's in a relationship, you know, props to you. For those who are in a marriage, props to you. For those who are going through a separation, just know that you are not alone. It's not going to be easy, but don't have any naysayers around you. Don't have people around you who are going to be spewing even more negativity in your life when you're already going through a low and a down moment. It's not going to do anything positive for you. The good thing that I had to on my back was the fact that I had positive people around me, like Zupa, like my friends, even my family. Even though if they really loved that person, they stood by my side. And I had to cut off some family who didn't, you know. So it's really a matter of surrounding yourself with people who love you, who support you, and getting that positive mindset in your head that, you know what, this is just for a moment, but better days will come.
This too shall pass. And if you're single, get your life, honey. It doesn't matter. Like, we're good over here.
We good. Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.